Hello everyone, welcome to the direct camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE and the Vivo X60 Pro 5G. And I have to tell you that it's a bright and sunny day here in New Delhi. So see it for yourself. How do both the cameras perform in dealing with the exposure, and how's the HDR performance for that matter? I would have loved to see a wider field of view on the S20 FE for sure. As you can see, the Vivo has a good field of view, decent field of view. The Vivo's footage also looks brighter right now on the phone's screen, but the S20 FE, to me, I think the S20 FE is doing S20 FE's footage looks to be more natural. And of course, if I'm not wrong, the stabilization is also looking much better on the S20 FE. But you guys decide. Tell me in the comments which one do you think is doing a better job right now. Of course, tell me which phones mics are doing a better job in capturing my audio. So tell me about that as well. So yeah, this is the selfie video sample, and of course I've forgot to tell you that the Vivo can only shoot up to 1080p 30 fps videos from the front camera. The Galaxy S20 FE can do 4K 60 fps videos, but this one, this sample right now that I'm shooting from both the phones, this is a 1080p 30 fps sample. So keep that in mind, and of course I'll be doing a lot of other tests in the video, so keep watching. And of course, if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing and also hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever a brand new video drops. With that being said, and I'm going out of breath right now holding both the phones, let's get started. Okay, before going on to the photo samples, let's take a look at the camera specifications of both the phones. So the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE features a triple rear camera setup comprising a 12 megapixel main lens with OIS, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, and an 8 megapixel telephoto lens with OIS again, and a 3x optical zoom. The Vivo X60 Pro, on the other hand, also features a triple rear camera setup comprising a 48 megapixel main camera with gimbal stabilization and a couple of 13 megapixel telephoto and ultra wide lenses. Both phones have 32 megapixel cameras at the front in a center aligned punch hole. This photo, taken from the primary lens of both the phones, shows that the Vivo X60 Pro and the Galaxy S20 FE can go neck and neck with each other. Good color reproduction on both phones, but yeah, different approaches to color science, I would say. If you ask me, the sky actually looks better because of the slight bluish hue that is visible in the S20 FE's photo, but the red looks more natural in the Vivo's output. Also, I think the image captured from the Vivo exhibits a slightly warm color temperature in comparison to the S20 FE's image. However, in terms of details, I think the S20 FE's image is a tad sharper than that of the Vivo. I mean, you see the text, the lines on the building, or the big screen, it all kind of looks sharper in the S20 FE's output. Now the same scene, but this time captured from the ultra wide angle lens. Okay, the first thing to notice here is that the S20 FE's field of view is slightly wider at 0.5x versus 0.6x on the Vivo. Otherwise, in terms of color reproduction, once again the Vivo's output looks warm in comparison to the S20 FE's output, but it's even warmer when you compare the photo with the one taken from the primary lens. Anyway, for this photo, the sky, the color of the building, the greens in the image, I think the S20 FE has done a better job. However, upon zooming in, you can definitely see that the Vivo did a superior job in exposing this dark area, but otherwise, in terms of details, when you zoom in, well, don't expect much from both. By the way, this is the color disparity between the primary lens and the ultra wide angle lens on both the phone's cameras. You can pause your screens right now to take a better look at them. Alright, this is a tricky one. I mean, it is not necessary that you have to make a choice here because, to be honest, both phones have done a fabulous job. Both the photos look vibrant for sure, and I think both of them have their own characteristics to deal with colors. For example, red looks boosted on the S20 FE, while on the Vivo, I think it looks more natural. Now, blue looks deeper in the S20 FE's image, and I think it looks better than that of the Vivo. And see, it all boils down down to which company's color science do you prefer at the end, and it's totally your choice to make. However, in terms of details, I will give it to the Samsung here. No doubt that the textures on the tin roof or the walls look more detailed in S20 FE's output than that of the Vivo X60 Pros. Now one more photo of this plant that I'm showing you, and tell me guys, which output do you prefer? See, in terms of colors, as I've been saying, both look good. Of course, Samsung's output is more vibrant here and Vivo's output looks more true to source, but the color of the tiles is more accurate on the Samsung, and not to mention that once again the S20 FE's photo is more detailed than that taken from the X60 Pro. In terms of HDR performance, both phones are capable of taking some top-notch photos when shooting against the light with good details and excellent dynamic range. However, while dealing with human subjects, I think the S20 FE is the better one between the two, simply because I like how Samsung dealt with my skin tone or the color of my shirt. Now, Vivo did manage to get the background exposure right, but my skin tone is absolutely messed up and the color of my shirt looks washed out. But guys, you can pause the video right now and maybe tell your thoughts as well. In my opinion, I think the S20 FE did better, but yeah, you guys tell. Okay, so next up is this portrait mode shot, and I don't even need to tell you guys which one is better, right? See, in terms of background blur, I think both phones did good. Edge separation around the subject is also top notch on both phones. However, Vivo did manage to mess up the orange wall behind. Notice that the painting looks to be in focus, so yeah, that. And I don't know man, the color disparity is too much here, and I don't want to upset Vivo fans here, but Samsung is definitely better here by a fair margin. Even for the selfie taken in portrait mode, see, the edge separation is good on both phones, but I simply can't ignore how Vivo has messed up with my skin tone. And once again, if you notice the color of my shirt, it looks washed out. The color of my shirt is not how Vivo is trying to depict. Okay, now this photo was taken in low light, and of course I did turn on night mode since it was ample dark that both phones couldn't have clicked a decent photo without night mode. Now the sky on this photo looks better in S20 FE's output, while I could notice a slight greenish hue in Vivo's output. Besides this, when you zoom in, you'll notice that the S20 FE also does a better job with details and sharpness. I mean, just look at this wall. This is a peach colored wall maybe, but yeah, it looks better in the output taken from the S20 FE. But upon further zooming in as well, if you look at this red bricked wall at the top, I think so S20 FE did a better job than the Vivo X60 Pro. And now the same scene shot from the ultra wide cameras, and to be honest, I don't like the output from both the phones, but if I have to take one, I will go for the S20 FE. My reason being that the Samsung does much better when it comes to dealing with white balance and details. Just take a look at the zoomed in part and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Also, I can't ignore the green tint again in the X60 Pro's photos, and while there's a slight magenta hue, if you would notice in the photo taken from the S20 FE, the colors still look better overall, be it the gate or the color of the building or simply the color of the street. The S20 FE does a better job. One more photo I'm showing you taken in low light. Once again, average performance from both devices, but to me the S20 FE's output looks more natural, and while details could be improved on both phones, the S20 FE definitely does a better job than the Vivo once again. Finally, selfie performance on both phones. While you have already seen an instance in portrait mode, this time around the Vivo doesn't go as harsh on my skin tone as it did earlier, but still there is room for improvement. While both selfies are detailed, the S20 FE did a better job with skin tone and dealing with highlights on the corner of my forehead. Overall, S20 FE's selfie looks more natural and color accurate. And for this selfie taken in low light with the night mode turned on, no doubt Vivo's output looks brighter, and no, the aura light feature or whatever that's called, it was turned off. So this is the AI that has brightened up the scene. But yes, the S20 FE does a better job in terms of details and skin tone. For that matter, just look at my neck region or my forehead and you'll see that how Vivo has just softened out everything. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 video samples right now. These are the 4K 60 FPS samples that I'm showing you first, and right off the bat, I would say in terms of colors, it all comes down to personal preference. I think both phones exhibit punchy colors. Now, I did notice a slight judder in Vivo's footage, while S20 FE in my opinion does so good in terms of stabilization. Of course, OIS is here. And just so you guys know, for 4K videos, Vivo can only utilize the standard stabilization. Otherwise, in terms of details, sharpness and dynamic range, both phones get full points. Now 1080p 60 fps videos from both the phones, and it is OIS versus gimbal stabilization right now. And I don't know guys, during the review period of the X60 Pro, I did not come across this issue. I am talking about the slight judder here and there, if you guys can also notice. So the footage is well stabilized on the Vivo for sure, no doubts about that. But man, if OIS is done right, you just can't beat it. Excellent output from the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. Finally, this video shot in extreme low light. Well, the Vivo's output is clearly darker between the two. Now, I'm not saying Samsung did a better job here, but the S20 FE's output is clearly a tad brighter and more usable than that of the Vivo X60 Pro. So yeah, there's that, and now is the time of the verdict. And this is how we have reached the end of the camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE and the Vivo X60 Pro. And I'm sure by this point you guys must have already made your choices as to which phone's camera do you prefer. Even while recording this selfie video, I still feel Samsung should have had a wider field of view. Because otherwise I think so the selfie camera is better on the Samsung, be it in terms of HDR performance or color reproduction, or in terms of dynamic range. I think Samsung does a better job, of course, in terms of dealing with skin tones as well. As for the rear cameras, I think so it all boils down to the color science. Which company's color science do you prefer? But then again, as you've seen in the photos, the portrait mode shots or the general photos, I think so Samsung does a tad better job. And of course, in terms of skin tone, again the rear camera does a better job. You've seen how Vivo messed up with my skin tone, with the color of my lips, I don't know, the shirt. Right now also you can see this is the original color of my shirt that you're seeing on the Samsung's in the output that's coming out from the Samsung. The Vivo's colors are still looking washed out, man, when I look at my shirt. But yeah, that's about it. I would say that in between the two, if you're looking for a reliable, consistent, camera that you can, just take out and click photos, take videos anytime, I would say go for the S20 FE. And one more thing that I really liked about the S20 FE during this comparison was that I was hoping that the gimbal stabilization, would trump over the OIS that's found on the S20 FE, because last time around when I did compare the gimbal stabilization with iPhone's 12 output, the video that I recorded there, yeah, it was so good in comparison to the iPhone's footage. But this time around I noticed this judder while I was recording the 4K video first. So I thought that okay, the standard stabilization must be messing up with me. And okay, in the next round when I go for the 1080p videos and turn on gimbal stabilization, the Vivo will pick it up. But the S20 FE, the optical image stabilization on the S20 FE, I think so it does a very good job. And OIS is the thing to beat still. I don't think so. If OIS is done right, definitely it does have an upper hand. But yeah, if the choice comes between the two, I would go for the S20 FE. But you guys also tell me which one would you go for if you have given the choice. And yeah, that's about it for this video. If you've watched till now, then thanks a lot for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and of course share this video with your friends and family. I'll see you guys in the next one, and for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Mr. Phone. Take care guys.